Everyone, my name is Alison Doherty, and I'm the Assistant Director of Career Services for the School of Communications. Today, we're going to talk about informational interviews, going over what they are, why they're important, and how you set one up. So first off, what is an informational interview or meeting? You might hear different terms for it. The term itself may sound intimidating, I think, with that word interview there, but it's not a formal job interview. It's a conversation that you can have between yourself and an employer or an alumni or some other professional contact. It's few things that it entails is it's a way to explore career paths, professional roles, companies, and industries. It's a chance to learn about that specific company. So if it's a particular organization that you're speaking to, you can learn a little bit more about them. It's a great opportunity to network and build personal relationships. And it's a time for you to request advice, inquire about any opportunities they may have posted, and ask for additional contacts. What it's not is not a time to ask for a job or internship. The conversation should really be focused on learning and relationship building. And if you ask for something right off the bat, it comes across as ingenuine and a turnoff really for employers. And really, when you think about it, how can they let you know or refer you to opportunities if they don't know you? So they need to know you and understand your interests, skills, values, experiences, all that. And as they get to know you better through the informational meeting and then with staying connected with them, they will feel more comfortable referring you for a role or forwarding you an opportunity not advertised on their company's website, maybe, for example. So why do they matter? What's the purpose of them and how does it benefit you? So research shows that 70 to 80% of jobs are found through networking. You may have heard the expression before, people hire people. Employers or sometimes AI software may be combing through hundreds of applicants. So if they know you personally, it's a huge leg up. And it's not just about who you already know, such as in your families or your social circles. It's about getting to know new people so that you can grow that network. And informational interviews are the perfect way to do that. Another reason why they're important and why it's helpful is it can help you discover best practices for facilitating a successful job or internship search. I feel like I've received such great advice over the years from informational interviews. And the act of conducting the informational interview itself is also great professional practice that will get you more comfortable with talking to employers and other folks so that during actual interviews you feel more comfortable, or even just during other networking opportunities. And lastly, you'll also get to know some amazing people. You'll learn about their lives and their professional stories, and it could even lead to a mentorship or a friendship. Okay, so some of the steps for conducting an informational meeting. The first thing is that you're going to want to identify someone to interview. So these people can be family, friends, professors, advisors, folks from professional organizations, alumni, staff, faculty, connections from LinkedIn, so many things or people to choose from. And then what you're going to do is you're going to contact them. So make sure when you're reaching out, you use the correct spelling and pronunciation of the contact's name, their job title, the correct salutation like doctor or Mr., Miss. You can do MX for non-binary identified individuals. And if you're not sure, it's okay to ask. But call or email them to request a time to meet. Be sure to state the reason you're contacting them, how much time you're seeking, 20 to 30 minutes is typically good, and how you learned about their work. You can request a phone or video interview if possible, or an observational visit or job shadow if that's possible. Your communication should be professional, clear, and concise. And then you're going to want to work on the scheduling with it. So be prepared to adjust your schedule to make sure it's convenient for your contact to meet with you. So suggest a few dates and times. And then once you do have something, do make sure you confirm with them. Make sure you've agreed on the date and the place of the meeting if it's in person, and send a brief confirmation email. If you're meeting over the phone or virtually, which is most likely the case right now, make sure you have the best number to reach them or send them a meeting link so everything's kind of all set and good to go. Then you're going to want to make sure you do some research in preparation for this meeting. So informational meetings should really not be the starting point of your career research. They should supplement what you have already learned. So prior to the interview, make sure you research your contact, and LinkedIn is great for this. And make sure you look up things about their organization and the industry as well. And then along with that too, you want to prepare a list of relevant questions and an updated resume in case the person asks for a copy. Be aware with that it may be inappropriate to offer that during your meeting. As a general rule, let the contact determine the formality of the conversation. And then lastly is to be punctual and professional and respect their time. So don't be late, be on time, wear professional attire, and stick to the meeting time that you set. All right, some tips from alumni and recruiters, some additional things to keep in mind. The first one, again, we kind of already touched on this, but always be professional. Make sure you send messages to Mr., Miss, or MX, like we said, or Doctor. Using the contact's first name is acceptable if they have graduated in the last 5 years or less, though. So that is okay to do. But, don't start an email with hey or something like that. Keep it formal and professional. Make sure you're concise and clear. Alumni and recruiters do not want to read a long email, so get to your point quickly. Make sure you state how you got their email address, whether that's from another contact, their company website, LinkedIn. Make sure you communicate that with them so they kind of know how you're getting their information and why you're reaching out. And be prompt in your communications. Always respond within 24 hours. You're the one who's reaching out, so don't ask them for something and then leave them hanging. That can be very annoying to the people that you're trying to make a good impression with. And then make scheduling easy for them by providing potential dates and times for the meeting instead of just asking when is good for you to meet. And that kind of, if you make it too broad, it is a little bit challenging. So make sure you provide those dates, and then it'll save a lot of back and forth because they can let you know what works. So just something I want to put on here if you are crafting a LinkedIn message or an email of just some things to keep in mind. I like these lists of the 5 P's right here: polite, pertinent, personalized, professional, and praiseful are all kind of things you can keep in mind when you're reaching out. And we also have some samples that we'll show you in a minute. So another thing to keep in mind when you're crafting these is first ask yourself, how do I know this person and why I'm reaching out? And then keep it short and sweet. We talked about being concise earlier. And always emphasize your point of connection, whether that's you've gone to Elon together, or you're both Elon alum, or they're an Elon alum and you're a current Elon student, or you have a mutual contact. Make sure you express that. This is a sample LinkedIn message. LinkedIn has a 300 character limit, so keep it in mind that you can't really have too much more than this. So this is a nice way to kind of get introduced to the employer and just send that message with the goal of them accepting your request so that you can then be a first degree connection. Once you're connected with someone, then you will be able to have access to their email address. And feel free to pause this and screenshot these if you'd like. But once you've received their email, then you can go a little bit more into that contact with them to try to set up an actual meeting. So this is a sample for someone who may be exploring careers or seeking internships. And then this is one very similar, but someone who is job seeking. So you can see the language is a little bit different there. Like I said, feel free to pause if you want to read these a little bit further. And then here's some sample questions, like we mentioned about make sure you prepare questions ahead of time. So these are some of the common ones that you can ask. It's really nice, that first one, to kind of get to know them and how they got to where they were, learning about the culture at the organization. That one about, are there any alumni or contacts you think would be helpful? And if they're comfortable with it, could they introduce them to you? So those are all great questions to ask. And there's a lot more of these sample questions that you can find on the Elon SPDC website. We have a lot of resources, or even just Googling questions to ask on an informational interview. You'll find lots of things there. All right, and then closing up here, some of the things you want to do after the meeting. First off is you want to send a thank you note within 24 to 48 hours after the meeting. This is so important. You really don't want to forget to do this. It's great to mention something specific from the conversation in your note as well, so it's not kind of a generic thank you. An email is totally fine, but alumni and professionals do always mention to us that they appreciate a handwritten thank you card sent to them in the mail. So you can follow up and ask them for their address or get it from the company's website. Right now, keep in mind, you may want to send an email and a thank you card, since it may take a few days for your card to reach the employer, or they may not be working in the office right now due to the current situation. So keep that in mind. And then lastly is stay connected. Networking is not meant to be transactional. The purpose of networking is to learn and to serve one another and to begin and grow professional relationships that can be maintained over an entire career. So staying connected is very important and will assist you in growing the relationship and allow you to keep learning and serving your contacts. Check in with your contacts occasionally. Small touch points such as engaging on social media are an easy way to do this. All right, and this is just a nice kind of graphic that really summarizes a lot of what we talked about informational interviews. I think that last part about reflecting on what you learned, keeping notes, things like that, so that you have those to remember can be really important. But if you have any questions or want to learn more, you can find a lot of resources on the SBDC website, which is elon.edu/careers. And as always, we encourage you to make an appointment with a career advisor on EJN, and we'd be happy to talk with you more about informational interviews and how to go about this process. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.